Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Bare and Brutal podcast, the podcast where we bare our feelings and are brutally honest while highlighting stories of resilience and transforming pain into power. I'm your host, Michelle, and today we're talking all things thrifting and sustainability with a dash of what it's like receiving an ADHD diagnosis as an adult. We'll dive into the world of fashion, hearing how one woman has taken a plunge to pursue her interests, all while navigating a whole other world of medication and mental health. We're joined here with Valentina, who is a fashion icon queen. She is a fellow 20-something-year-old who's just trying to make it out here and figure out how the hell to live her best life. She's fun, she's spunky, she's our resident baddie, here to educate us on the world of sustainable fashion and living with ADHD as a woman. So thanks for joining us, Valentina.
Thanks, Michelle. You make me sound so cool, actually. So thanks for that very nice intro. It's so nice being here with you. I think, especially in a podcast that's all about the truth and all about the expression, and I'm here for it. So thanks for having me again.
Yes. And no need to thank me because you literally are so cool. Like when I found your account on Instagram, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get this girl on the show because you just look so cool and I want to be you when I grow up.
You're the bestest girl. You're the best. I can't.
Well, I would love if you could just start off by sharing your story and your journey, starting, your account styled by Valen. I'd love to hear how your interest in fashion, thrifting,
Yeah,
and sustainability and all that good stuff was born.
absolutely. I think this honestly could be a long story. I think when I was little, my mom always dressed me up in the cutest like sets of clothes where you had like the
Oh.
little matching hat with the little matching dress. And I would always go out and be like, oh my God, is she a little doll? Like, no, I'm a cute little baby. And period. And I think I never really thought about fashion until I was older. I think I
Hmm.
always had it in there in my life. It was always a part of me, but it was never like, it never sparked until I think college. When I was
Okay.
little, like, I definitely used fashion as a therapy. Like
Yes. Yes.
I I moved around like 11 times in my life, and I
Oh my
think what
gosh.
held me together those 11 times were really like going to TJ Maxx, online shopping, even if it
Yeah.
were just like a window shopping, like me and my mom always held through with just going shopping, spending zero money, spending some money, hopefully,
Yeah.
especially at
Yeah.
mommy's.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
but I
So,
think it was, yeah,
sorry, 11 times. You moved 11 times growing up?
11 times, girl.
That's
It was a
crazy.
lot.
So how was that? Like growing up and just constantly moving around?
I think for me, it's always been kind of crazy to think like it's definitely exhilarating getting to know so many different cultures and getting to
Hmm.
have people all over the world, but it's definitely more nerve-wracking when you're having to like kind of build your whole life every 2 years and getting to know
Yeah.
new people. And that was definitely like created the person I am today, I think. Definitely survival of the fittest. Like if I
Yeah.
didn't socialize, I was never going to make friends. And I think I unfortunately had to learn the hard way. But I'm very grateful now. I think I've always had like an identity crisis because of this. Because I remember being little and people would ask me, "Where are you from?" And I
Mm.
honestly never know what to answer. Like, as an adult, I can confidently say, like, yes, I'm Colombian. My family's Colombian. I lived there a couple years. But as a person who moved almost every 2 years, it was very much like, okay, but you lived maybe more years in this other city. Well, how does that not make you like, I don't know, Panamanian or even from the
Yeah.
US? Because I'm American myself too. So
Yeah.
I think it's always been a little confusing in terms of like identity.
That's so interesting. So how have you gone about deciding what your identity is? Like who do you define yourself as now?
I think I've always embraced my Colombian culture. I think
Hmm.
it wasn't just because it felt right, it was more like I really I don't know how to say, like, I was so passionate about the music and dancing and everything that kind of entails you as a Colombian. I love the culture, how people are so warm and so exciting and exhilarating, and everyone's talking and everyone's like kind of crazy like me.
Yeah.
And I
I
don't know, I
love
kind of
that.
saw that and it really felt warm and close to me that I
Hmm.
kind of just, you're like, you know what, like, people don't have to tell me I'm Colombian. Like, I know I feel Colombian and I am from there, and that's my blood and that's my culture. And I can't wait to dance to some salsa on my wedding night and have my,
Period.
like, just be Colombian.
Yeah. I love that you are so confident and that you've stepped into this confidence of your identity, because like I could definitely, I mean, I moved twice growing up, but in that time, that was like probably the worst years of my life because I'm very much an introvert. And
Yeah.
so moving to a place where I don't know anybody and I'm the weird new kid, I I think I struggled with just wanting to be accepted. And I'm curious, like, how did you navigate making new friends? Like, I know
Yeah.
that you credit a lot of your childhood into forcing you to kind of develop into an extroverted person, but
Yeah.
how was that like for you? How did you go about being like, "Hey, I'm Valentina, let's be friends." Like, what was that like?
Honestly, now that you ask, it's so weird to think back into it, but I think most of the time I like now I might seem like a very outgoing, extroverted person. I think even back then I wanted to like fake myself into being like extroverted, if that
Mm,
makes sense. Like
mhm.
I would generally just it felt so normal having to start like a new school that because it already happened so many times. I
Yeah.
obviously got nervous, but I kind of just followed the steps of like, okay, let's go to like orientation and take it from there, right? Like
Yeah.
if someone comes and talks to me, let's go talk to that person. Or even I think I really learned to start conversations with other people, which is so
Mhm.
hard to do. Like
Yeah.
just sitting next to someone and be like, hey, like what's your name, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
um yeah, that always got me, like, at least my initial friend that we always like kind of like we're in the same boat, we were both new, we don't know anyone, let's be friends and then let's
Yeah.
find our, like, I don't know, like, circle in this little world.
And just being like open to connection, I feel like.
Exactly.
So now that you're an adult, you're a big girl, do you
Let's go.
prefer to move around or do you like staying settled in one place?
I think a little bit of both, if that makes any sense. I think
Yeah.
I potentially do want to stay at least here in San Francisco for a couple years. I think it makes sense. I just want to build that community and that like home that I kind of never had. Like
Yeah.
coming back to, like, I don't know, like my parents' house. It never was like one place. I think
Mhm.
I want to kind of build that for my own family since I felt like I really lacked it.
Yeah.
Um but I also love traveling. I think for me it's like the way I kind of keep in touch with other cultures and my old past of like keep moving forward was all. I
Mhm.
think it's let's discover new cultures, let's try new things, let's meet new people,
Yeah.
but let's maybe stay in the same place for once.
Settle down some roots. And
Yeah.
I know that when we talked in our initial like conversation, you told me that you just made this big girl move to the new city. You're in San
Yeah.
Francisco with your husband, and it was like
Mm.
your first time living together with him. So, how did you navigate juggling all of those changes, like moving to a whole new place by yourself,
Yeah.
only really knowing your husband, and just dealing with, I don't know, it probably felt lonely at times, right?
I would definitely say so. I mean, I love my husband and everything, but I think it's very different going from an environment, at least in college, where I was living with my best friends. My roommates were my best friends, and it was
Yeah.
never like an issue. It was more like a benefit to me. Like
Mhm.
we lived very well together. And for me, that was like such an insane experience because most people speak of the opposite.
Mhm.
And then having to move with a stinky boy, which my friends and I always say. Um, and I love him lots, but he's still a boy after after
Yeah.
the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think the biggest learning that we both find is kind of learning how to learn from each other and learn,
Mhm.
what ticks the other person off. Like, what
Yeah.
doesn't the other person like? What does the other person want me to improve? And I mean, really like trying your best to grow on your own, but also as a like couple, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, girl, that makes so much
Um,
sense.
because those chores will forever be the end of me. We will forever have conversations on who does this, who does that, who can help do this, who can help do that. And I think even until the day we die, we will be discussing this. Hopefully, like, I think with time, I think the conversations do get healthier. The conversations get more localized, more
Mm-hmm.
focused, more like, okay, it's not me against you, it's me
Yeah.
and you against the situation, right?
Right. Man, that's definitely been a tough lesson to learn myself too. I mean, I I've been with my boyfriend for going on 7 years, and when we first moved in together, we were still in college. And
Yeah.
honestly, we talk about this all the time, but I'm like, we should not have moved in together that early. Like, I don't know who we thought we were, but that was like such an awful time. I mean, I think we just moved way too fast in the beginning.
Yeah.
Hindsight, now, I love him. Love him
Yeah.
so much. I'm grateful for all the experiences we had, but there were some times back then where I'm like, this is crazy. Like, we had so many fights about just
Yeah.
like the fact that he would leave his socks everywhere. Like, I would come home and you
Yeah.
could see the trail of where he was going, because like sock here, boxers there, like, and the basket's right next to it. I'm like,
Yeah.
you couldn't have placed it right there. You were so
Oh,
close.
girl. He definitely couldn't.
So I'm curious, did you have any like horror stories of you and your husband, like when you first moved in? Maybe any stupid fights that you had?
I think, yes. I normally, like, I'm a little chaotic, okay?
Okay.
I'm a Scorpio. He's a Leo, but he's like a chill Leo. I'm like
Okay.
a Scorpio. I'm like a chill Scorpio, but also like I can get chaotic as a Scorpio does. And I think sometimes like I get in the mindset of I want equality. Like I,
Mm,
as a woman, need equality. I need
yeah.
50-50. I'm not going to take anything less or anything more, right?
Yeah.
And I found myself like, yes, that's like obviously like your partner shouldn't be taking advantage of you in these situations, but it's also a fact of not every day is going to be a 50-50. I think some days are going to
Yeah.
be 20-80, some days are going to be 60-40. And I think it's hard for me to learn that. And I think I'm every day getting better at working on that and realizing like the other person doesn't hate you, but they
Yeah.
might be tired and might be very busy, and that's why they're not helping. But there's going to be a point in time that that's also going to be you, right? Like you're going to
Right.
be tired, you're going to be busy, and that other person obviously should be there to help you out.
Yeah.
But any horror stories? I'm trying to think. Like I'm sure there is, but like it's probably like some little stupid fight that turned into something else because it was actually like a bigger issue. Was like
Yeah.
you're you're like unpeeling those layers, right?
Right. I feel you, sis, because living with a man is like ghetto. Like, I
Absolutely.
definitely feel you with the wanting equality thing. Like, I was so stubborn. Don't tell him I said this, but like, there were times where, yeah, maybe he was a little right. Like, maybe I could have chilled a little bit.
Yeah.
But you're so right with the whole, like, it's not realistic for it to always be a 50-50, and it's a give and take, and
Exactly.
ultimately I think when you're in a long-term relationship, at least for me, and I want you to speak on this too, but I had this
Yeah.
expectation that it was going to be so easy, and like my Delulu self watched movies like The Notebook, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have our happily ever after. And then when we got into the relationship, I was like, wait, why am I so annoyed with you right now? Like, does that mean I don't love you? Like, what is happening? But that's just life. Like, it is normal for you to get annoyed with your partner. That doesn't mean that it's the end of your relationship. So I don't know, how do you feel about that?
I agree. I think, I mean, at the end of the day, you're gonna be having a lot of hard conversations on a daily, and they're not gonna be easy conversations. Like, I'm not gonna pretend like I am the best at having difficult conversations. I definitely like try my best, but I sometimes get too emotional. Sometimes I can't think clearly.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's so many variables that go into when you're having a tough conversation, and obviously the more you grow, I feel the better you get at it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's always going to be something that you work on. And I think it's okay to fight healthily, obviously. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you won't be healthy, and that's when you say sorry and you're like, I was wrong, I take accountability. But that's also but I think
Man.
I don't know, like as long as like you both love each other, I think you will always be trying to work your way to be a better half or
Yeah.
whole or whatever it is.
Yeah. No, I agree wholeheartedly. Just growing up in your 20s, like navigating all this stuff, relationships, career, it's not for the weak. It is not.
It absolutely isn't.
So, I would love to transition and talk about your ADHD diagnosis
Ooh.
and your journey with medication. Because I know that when we talked about this, you said it's been such a roller coaster, but I'd love if you could speak more on that for the listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. Whew. I don't even know where to start. I feel like this has been coming for so long. I think everything really started with someone in my family getting diagnosed. ADHD is very genetic. Like, if someone in your family, as in someone like your parents have it, you most likely have
Yeah.
it. So definitely Google, look at those things, check it out, get yourself checked out.
Yeah.
I think once I realized it was in my family, from there, it was so hard to unsee. And that for me, I kind of took it initially as a joke, like, ha ha ha, I guess I do have ADHD, but
Hmm.
never really saw it with the serious side that I should have. Um, and then my senior year of college, my one of my closest friends, and which was also my roommate, she got diagnosed with ADHD,
Oh,
and I was like, oh, my
twin.
bestie and I, twinsies, we are
Yes.
the ADHD girlies, and now I want to get diagnosed. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you need the worst excuse to get something done, and especially with ADHD.
Yeah.
Like the motivation sometimes is not there, and I procrastinated like there was no tomorrow to get this diagnosis. Even after I was excited that my friend had it, yeah, it still took me a while to actually get a psychiatrist, to actually get
Yeah.
like what's it called, like diagnosed and actually get medicated.
Hmm.
So like after my friend got it, me and my friend always like talked about it. We knew it was a thing. I honestly knew it was a thing. I just didn't want to like go through the whole process because
Yeah.
I don't know, kind of it's scary that it's so hard to get the right medication for something
Hmm.
that affects your life so significantly.
Yeah.
And I think in my head it was just easier to not do anything about it than go through the process,
Hmm.
which is my brain procrastinating once again. We're not surprised.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think just once I moved to San Francisco and went through like my workforce, I realized that something was wrong. Like
Mm.
in college, I always found better ways to study, and I had to write things in a whiteboard like 5 times for it to go into my brain and me to be able to go take a test. And I thought that was
Yeah.
normal, right? Like I thought that was fine. And then I saw my, I guess husband now, but boyfriend at the time, just reading a PowerPoint and going to take his exam and acing it. And it's just like, is there? I know I'm not dumb because I've worked really hard my whole life to get to where the
Yeah.
point that I am, but sometimes I kind of feel dumb because
Yeah.
I have to do so much more than the average person to feel like I don't know, I succeeded or I
Hmm.
did what that person did as well. And I don't know, once I entered the workforce, I started seeing patterns there too where I wasn't performing to the point that I wanted to perform, right?
Hmm.
And that for me was not okay. I In my life I had been in a position where I was kind of failing, to be honest, in my eyes. In my eyes I felt like I was failing in my
Hmm.
first real world job after working so hard in college, doing everything in internships, doing everything like right,
Yeah.
so that when I left college I was going to be in the best stance possible, right? And be able to like grow in my career, be the CEO I wanted to be.
Hmm.
And that is so far off of what I want to be now. So I think, I mean, I'm rambling at this point because the ADHD is ADHDing. But I don't know. Once I got into the workforce and getting pushed to the point that I needed change,
Hmm.
I didn't have an option at that point. I think I went ahead, I tried the cheapest way to get a diagnosis,
Yeah.
fucked myself over at that point because sometimes, like, getting your cheap way out isn't the way to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's just, I don't know, do this online thing, get diagnosed, and then start taking medication. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, the laws in California for medication are very strict. So that fucked me over too.
Oh,
And then I ended up having a diagnosis and nothing to do with it.
wow.
Ended up procrastinating it a lot more. And then getting to the point that once again, it was kind of like, I need to do something for myself now,
Yeah.
or I don't know, something's going to go wrong. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
can't keep prolonging this, right? And I finally, I think it was my birthday.
Oh.
Oh, you know what it was? I turned 25. I'm telling you. Okay, I'm telling you. So I really feel like when I turned 25, my brain just did like it clicked. It said, you know, all of these problems that you've been procrastinating for the 25 years of your life, girl, it's time to get your shit together. Let's look at these problems. Now you can't ignore them anymore. Now you just have anxiety, right? You
Yeah.
can't just, so either you deal with it or you don't. And I decided to deal with it. I made an
Yeah.
appointment. I actually made an appointment with a good doctor, a good psychiatrist, paid the money that I was supposed to pay, and had the best experience.
I love that.
And I don't know, I
Yeah.
think for my brother, it was a lot harder because he
Mm.
had to go through that process of what's the right medication. And I think that's what
Yeah.
scares a lot of people. I was very lucky that I take what my brother takes, which
Mm-hmm.
is very genetic. So it works very well. And I've had a lot of success with it. But I think that's what gets a lot of people scared with the journey because
Yeah.
sometimes you start taking the wrong medication and yeah, you do feel droopy. You don't feel like yourself. You don't want to do anything. Like it's not, you don't feel like yourself.
Yeah.
And that's when you should go get yourself checked and try another medication. But a lot of people don't know about the whole experience and think that that's it and end up stop taking medication. And that's also a problem if you are, I guess, in the spectrum of like, I kind of need medication to
Mm-hmm.
kind of continue living your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I, girl, this is what we're here for, okay? Don't think that you're rambling. Like, I want to hear it all.
Okay, good.
But hearing you speak about your journey with just getting help, I mean, I can definitely relate too, because I'm a anxious and depressed girly, and it is so hard to just take that step. Even if I am not the type of person to procrastinate, I'm very type A, Virgo energy, but doing something, I don't know what it is, like just doing something that is gonna help you, but like you're gonna have to accept some really hard truths. It's so hard. Like,
Oh, it's impossible.
so I definitely give yourself some grace. It is you got there. You listen to your brain. You're like, okay, I'm gonna get my shit together now, and you did it. So that's great. And I also think an aspect of what made your experience kind of tough too, though, is it is so much harder to diagnose women with ADHD versus men. Because with men, I feel like it's the textbook definition, right? Like, bad behavior growing up in classes,
Mm.
can't sit still type of thing. But I feel like with women, it's a different experience and it's much harder to identify. So, can you speak on that? How do you think you may have masked your ADHD growing up just because you were a girl?
Absolutely. I think honestly, this kind of connects. I've been reading a book called The Invisible Woman. And it's kind of this book that talks about how like so much of like the historical research done about a lot of things, but also mental health
Hmm.
is based off men. So a
Yeah.
lot of these, I don't know, symptoms that now I feel like we have a lot more technology and a lot more information available. But at least back in the day, in the 2000s, like, yeah,
Yeah.
there was internet, but it wasn't, there's no AI.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of data on men, and all these symptoms that were attached to men were also attached to women, even though they were wrong, right? So let's
Hmm.
say you're little and you're not acting, I don't know, hyperactive, disruptive, having angry outbursts, being insensitive, you're different. So they don't really catch it as quick as they do for like men or boys.
Yeah.
For women, these feelings are more like being despair, like being sad, feeling inadequate, like being
Mm,
severely overwhelmed, not having the motivation to do anything. Like there's like so they're very different, and I think that's why like nowadays there's a lot of women that are getting diagnosed as adults, and
yeah.
a lot of times they also get diagnosed with depression first, and
Mm-hmm.
that depression comes because of undiagnosed ADHD. So a lot of women nowadays, like since they were not diagnosed since like a young age, they end up getting depressed.
Yeah.
Um, because obviously, I don't know, your brain can take some of this, but it gets to the point that you're gonna break down, like your
Yeah.
body can't take it anymore. And I think it shows in other ways, like depression. I,
Mm-hmm.
for example, was diagnosed with depression before I was even diagnosed with ADHD, and it never made sense to me because I don't know, I moved like so long and I never felt like I was depressed until like the
Yeah.
moment that had nothing to do. Like it was during COVID,
Yeah.
and I was so confused. I'm like, yeah, I'm lonely. Yeah, there's all these things going on, and yeah, I have this like problem that I'm not dealing with, but oh, I'm depressed. And the first instinct was like, okay, let's solve this depression through, I don't know, taking medication, taking
Mm-hmm.
therapy. Yes, that was right, but I think also the biggest thing to deal with was figuring out my ADHD,
Yeah.
dealing with it, dealing with the emotions, taking the therapy, unpeeling those layers, and then getting to the point where maybe I'm not depressed, maybe I just have ADHD,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Maybe I just need to pop some Adderall. Like,
Exactly.
well, it sounds like getting that official diagnosis for ADHD really changed your life. How did getting on medication and getting the appropriate help how did it help you turn around things for yourself?
Girl, I have never been more efficient in my life. Like, I swear to God. Like, I started drinking this medication and I suddenly was like productive. I suddenly had all these things that I've been wanting to do done. Like, for example, like the Styles by Valen account, I've been wanting to be a stylist for a long time
Hmm.
and make my own content and I don't know, even style my friends. And I've been wanting to do that for maybe 3 years. And
Wow.
for 3 years, I've been procrastinating my ADHD, and I take medication for a month. And I already have my Instagram page, everything posted, my first pop up. Like, I felt like I
Period.
was soaring. I'm like, okay, why did no one give me this medication before? And to me, it's really funny because I don't know, I'll see people take like ADHD medication to go party. And I'm like, you're telling me you can find this to party and I can't get this to be like a normal human being on a day to
Right.
day? Like, what is going on?
Right. There's like a shortage right now, right? On like medication.
Oh, yeah, big time. And you know what? These tech engineers, they need to stop because all I'm saying is I've heard a lot of people like to get fake, what's it called, like fake diagnosis. Like they'll go to
Oh
the doctor,
shoot.
they'll read the textbook symptoms, they'll get medication, and then they'll use it to be able to work harder.
What?
And yeah, so that's why like obviously there's a shortage because of other things, but that also doesn't help,
Yeah.
and it's tough.
That's crazy. We have a bunch of fucking posers trying to take medication from us. Like,
Yeah, no, like when you're trying to work in 12x, like I'm trying to work in 1x.
go freaking drink
Chill.
a Red Bull. Like, what the hell?
I
Wow,
don't know,
that
go
is
do
so
something
crazy.
else. Like,
Yeah. Man, that is so
um,
shitty.
yeah. So I forgot what your question was again.
I'm pretty sure we answered it.
Okay, good, good. Just
But
making sure.
I wanted to hear more about Styled by Valen because, I mean, since you started this, like it's kind of
Yeah.
picked up some attention and I love what it's about. Like, can you tell me about what Styled by Valen is and like what was your purpose and mission in creating it?
Yeah, I think honestly, like when I moved here, as I said before, I've always loved retail therapy. I think maybe it's not the most healthy choice of therapy, but you do what you got to do when you're in
Right.
trouble, you know. And when I moved here, I was honestly depressed. I had no friends. I just moved in with my stinky boy, and like I don't know, I didn't have my best friends living with me anymore. I wasn't close to like my friends weren't here. And
Mhm.
I've always had like a really solid community of friends, and that's always like I don't know, for me, like my friends are my everything. They're my therapy, they're my family,
Yeah.
they're my everything, and I'm very grateful for them. And I don't know, I moved here. I realized I couldn't continue spending money in real clothes that were so expensive. I
Mhm.
also, what am I going to do with this clothes, And I started thrifting. And when I started thrifting, I was exhilarated with like the treasure hunt, like finding a cool little piece and wow, what is that really cool piece that you found that was like only $10?
Yeah.
And that just like gets me so exhilarated. I love going, putting my AirPods on, going rack by rack, every single thing, going one thing by one thing and finding like a couple items that like no one else found because they're too lazy to go through everything, right?
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, for me it was really like a place to go and not have to think.
Yeah.
And then have something really cool to wear and feel very confident in.
Yeah.
And to me, like clothes has always been a way of self-expression and confidence and feeling sexy, feeling hot,
Mhm.
feeling creative, feeling who I am as a person. I would say I'm very expressive,
Mhm.
and I don't know, I feel like sometimes I want to just like, like scream out loud that I love you as a like I don't know, like it's like that angry love type of thing. Like
Yeah.
I love you, and sometimes I can't do that. So I just like, I don't know, I go crazy. I wear random earrings, cool earrings. I wear random things I thrifted. I buy like, I don't know, really weird clothes that people would never wear, but I love and
Yeah.
I feel cool in. And that for me is, I don't know. I feel like what gives me confidence has always been that. And I don't know, like not caring what other people think because
Mhm.
I know like I have the best intentions in mind and
Yeah.
like I'm never gonna be doing something mean to my friend on purpose. I'm not gonna talk shit about anyone. Like I genuinely have good intentions and like I know like I'm pretty cool. I'm here to make you laugh. Like I'm not here to like punch you in the face, girl. Like
Yeah.
I'm here to be friends and I don't know, I would kind of just want to meet more people that are like that and just want to enjoy clothes and feel more confident and be more themselves. Like for me, I kind of just want to show my authenticity out there. I just want to show who I am.
Yeah.
I don't know, like my mom always told me to not care what other people think. I thought it was kind of funny before, but she's so right. Like
Yeah.
I obviously to an extent everyone cares a little bit, but I'm
Mhm.
not going to care about something that shouldn't affect me and that is actually going to harm me more than I do. Like do I care you think my outfit is ugly? Absolutely not. I think I look great and it's for me, it's not for you, right? And I don't know, I experimented in a cool new makeup that I saw on TikTok today. It might look like shit, but if you like close your eyes a little bit and like dim the light, it looks super cool. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wanna. This might sound super weird or stupid, but I just want people to come to my page and enjoy just a light-hearted person who is honest and who is just
Yeah.
herself and doesn't really care and
Yeah.
kind of join me here, like join me not caring. Like I don't know, like yeah. I got stuck in my thoughts, girl. This happens so often. I talk, and I'm like, where was
You
I?
are good. That is not weird or stupid at all. I think that we need pages like yours of people who are just unapologetically themselves because it's really hard to step into your confidence and not give a fuck about what someone thinks of you. Um,
Yeah.
and seeing someone like you who's living by example, like I think that's going to inspire so many people. I mean, you've definitely inspired me. I have these shoes in my closet that my boyfriend, he's like, are you working at a funeral home? Like, they're loafers, okay? I went through a
Love a
phase,
loafer.
right? Right? I was like, this is cute. Like, with the right outfit, the right pants.
I
But
agree.
every time I wear it, he's oh, she brought the clown shoes out. I'm like,
You gotta
see,
get
that's
him a matching
why,
pair, and then he can't say shit.
you know what? You're onto something. So here's what I'm going to do after this. I'm going to bring out my clown loafers and I'm going to wear them and be like, I love them. So,
Yes, you
you know,
embrace your clown loafers, whatever you want to call them. I love a loafer, like especially now they're back. Like you wear
yeah.
that, you can turn like I don't know, like even with shorts, like you wear some cute little I don't know socks, wear them, a little dress. I honestly wear them with
Okay.
everything. I'm not gonna lie. I like to grunge it up a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Add a little bit of darkness, you know.
Yes, a little spice.
Well, I love just you as a person. I'm going to say I love you angrily. Like, I love you because your page is just, it is exactly what you're wanting it to be. It is a bright space just for people to come and be entertained and enjoyed and inspired. And yeah, I think that you're onto something and it's great. I also would love to hear how your pop-up went because I saw that you did one and I
Yeah.
saw your little setup. Was that your boyfriend on the DJ?
Yes. Oh my
It
God,
was so
girl.
cute. Tell me how that was.
You're the sweetest, first of all. Thank you so much for all these compliments. I don't even know what to do with this information. All these compliments are like, ooh, I gotta, like a little, ooh. But I think it was really fun. Like I honestly like it got to the point that I was like, okay, I need to do something,
Mm-hmm.
And I have a garage where I store my car, and I was like, you know what? Just gonna open up, let people walk by, take my car out, and just like open shop there. And my husband had just recently started his like DJ habit. What is it like? Oh, DJ hobby. That's the word I was looking
Oh.
for. And he had just started practicing because we both kind of started in our passions, like our little hobbies at the same time. And I told him I want to do a pop up with all the clothes I've been like collecting, and I
Mm-hmm.
want you to DJ because
Oh.
you're gonna bring all the people in to dance and drink and have some fun. And it was honestly so fun because the fact that it was in my building made
Mm-hmm.
it so special that I got to meet all my neighbors, all the people that
Oh,
walked
yeah.
by, so many cute little doggies that I was like,
Oh.
oh, and I don't know, I think the funnest part out of these events is connecting with new people and
Yeah.
being like, "Oh, you're my neighbor. Oh my God, you need to come to the next pop up and you can meet these people." And then seeing people that knew each other meeting themselves there and like, "Oh, I didn't know you were
Yeah.
here." Like, I don't know. I think the people part of it has always kind of driven me. Like, I want you to be happy in what you're wearing. Like, I want you to buy, I don't know, this t-shirt from me and feel like you're owning the world and you're going to go tomorrow. And that's the first thing you're going to wear because you're so excited and you feel so confident and you're going to walk
Yeah.
in the street and you're going to feel like you're the hottest thing in the world. And I'm going to support you and I'm going to think you're the hottest girl in the world.
Well, I love that. I love that you got to do and have a shared experience with your husband because I feel like continuing to do these things is just going
Yeah.
to bring y'all even closer too. I mean, you can even plug his little DJ on here too because
That's what I'm saying.
yeah. Wow. Well, are you planning to do more of these pop-ups in the future?
I do. I don't have one planned right now, but I do eventually want to have either a monthly event or even like if it gains enough people, maybe like every 2 weeks. I think
Yeah.
I just need to get on the roll of like continue doing it
Yeah.
and not even thinking about it. Just like, oh, you know what? Today's sunny. Let me go open shop.
Right.
But I'll always post it on my Instagram. I hope you're visiting one day and you can come to one of them and bring your
Yes.
boyfriend and your doggos.
Yes, I would love to. Oh man. Well, this is great. I wish that I was in San Francisco and that we could hang out and like
Me
I could come by one of your
too.
pop-ups. But hopefully one day I will come and visit. But for those listeners who are local to San Francisco, um, yeah, be on the lookout for Valentina's pop-ups. Um, I think we'll be wrapping the episode up here now. But before we go, though, is there anything else that you'd like to share with the listeners before we go, Valentina?
I do want to thank you, Michelle. You are the sweetest person I could ask for. You're the best host, honestly. I think hearing a little bit more about the background of Baron Brutal, like, you're killing it. Like, this is exactly what I, at least, like, I would say, like, me as your audience. Like, someone that just speaks truth, speaks how hard it is to be in your 20s. Because at the end of the day, like, I feel like that is not spoken about enough. We're all struggling out here. We are all struggling, and that's okay. But the more we talk about it, the more we know we're all struggling. And maybe, like, we hold each other accountable, and we love each other, and we hold each other's hand and bring everyone up. And I don't know. Thank you for, like, making a great environment to get to know someone. Like, at the end of the day, like, we just met, and you made that very comfortable. So thanks again, and keep your hard work. And I don't know.
Girl, thank you so much. Not us gassing us up this entire time. It's literally just 40 minutes of us complimenting each other.
As we should.
Well, thank you for being on the show and just connecting with me. This has been the most beautiful thing about having a podcast, is just connecting with people. Before we go, please tell the listeners where they can find you to follow your content and follow along with your journey, and also see when you're going to have pop-ups.
Follow me on Instagram, Styled by Valen, with underscores in between. And follow up for any new events coming in San Francisco. And also join my TikTok, Exotic Val. I am very funny, or at least I try to be. It's honestly kind of chaotic, but hopefully you'll like it.
We're here for the chaos, okay? Well, thank you again for coming on the show today. It was so much fun chatting with you. It's literally like we were just two besties on
Yeah,
FaceTime.
love it.
So those of you listening, please go show her some love. You can go find Valentina's socials and links all in the show notes. I'll put it there for you. Thanks again, Valentina. And thanks for listening, everyone. And as always, I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, Michelle. Thank you.